right, so as we did in section 7.3, when we're working through our problems in section 7.4, we're going to start by kind of making a list of information of what we know, and then also figure out what we want to know. So a mortgage is underwater if the amount owed is greater than the value of property that is being mortgaged. A 2013 Rasmussen poll of 715 homeowners in the United States found that 62% of them believe their homes were not underwater. The margin of error is plus or minus 4% with a 95% confidence level. State the confidence interval. How would you interpret this interval? What does the 95% mean? All right, so we're going to go through again and start by making a list of what we know. So our n is our sample size. Remember, lowercase n is our sample size. So our sample size is 715 homeowners, right, in the United States. P hat, right, so it's not just P, it's P hat, is our sample proportion. Our sample proportion is 62%. All right, which as a decimal we write as 0.62. We are told our margin of error is 4%. We change that to a decimal, that's 0.04. All right, our confidence level that we are given, the margin of error is plus or minus 4% with a 95% confidence level. So our confidence level is 95%. All right, and what we want to know, we want to know the confidence interval. And remember, our confidence interval is given by the formula P hat plus or minus M. Right, so that is our confidence interval. All right, so to find our confidence interval, we're going to use this formula, and our P hat plus or minus M is going to be 0.62 plus or minus our 0.04. Right, so then when we find our interval, our first number is always going to be our number found by subtracting, our margin of error. So this 0.62 minus 0.04, and then we're going to do 0.62 plus 0.04, and that gives us a confidence interval. We're going to use interval notation, and we're going to use parentheses. 0.62 minus 0.04 gives us 0.58, and then 0.62 plus 0.04 gives us 0.66. So there is our confidence interval. All right, now in this case we're asked, what does the 95% mean? All right, so we talked on the previous page about our confidence level, and we said that our confidence level tells us how often our estimation is successful, and it's talking about our method that's being used, not our particular answer. So we're going to state the confidence level of 95% tells us that if we conduct many surveys, mm-hmm. 95% of them would result in confidence intervals that include the true proportion. Right, so again, our confidence level has to do with how often our estimation is successful. So the confidence level of 95% tells us that if we conduct many surveys, 95% of them would result in confidence intervals that include the true proportion. How would you interpret this interval? Right, this is quite possibly the most important question that we're looking at. right? So it's important that we know what the 95% means, but more of our answers that we're going to see are going to ask us to interpret these intervals. So our interpretation, we start with our confidence level. So we are 95% confident. Right, so whenever we're starting our interpretation, the easiest way to start it is with our confidence level. Right, and then we talk about what proportion we are looking at. So we are 95% confident that the proportion of, and we go back to our original problem. In our original problem, we were talking about the U.S. homeowners who believe their home is not underwater. So we are 95% confident that the proportion of all U.S. homeowners who believe that their home is not underwater is between, right, and we're going to go back up and we're going to look at our confidence interval. Our confidence interval was 0.58 to 0.66. We're going to change these back to percentages. So if we change these back to percentages, that's going to be between 58% and 66%. Okay. So we are 95% confident that the proportion of all U.S. homeowners who believe that their home is not underwater is between 58% and 66%. Okay. So again, as we're looking at this problem, we do want to know what that 65% means, but we do want to make sure that we feel comfortable with our interpretations of these confidence intervals, because every other problem for the rest of the section is going to include interpretation for our confidence interval.